All right, it's time to discuss about the ITTOs. First, the inputs. Project management plan is the first input. There are three components of project management plan are here. Resource management plan. The resource management plan describes the communication that are needed for the management of team and physical resources. Communication management plan. The communication management plan describes how project communications will be planned, structured, monitored, and controlled. Stakeholder engagement plan. The stakeholder engagement plan describes how stakeholders will be engaged through appropriate communication strategies. There are 6 project documents that are used as inputs in managed communication. Let's look at them one by one. Change log. Let's start with the overview. We already had a detailed discussion about how the changes to be handled in the project. The change log is used to document changes that occurs during the project. It contains all the changes requested throughout the project or phase, including approved, deferred, and rejected changes. Now in context, the change log is used to communicate the changes that are approved, deferred, or rejected and the impacted stakeholders. Issue log. The issue log contains information about the issues occurred in the project and the impacted stakeholders. Lessons learned register. The lessons learned can provide the insight about the efficiency and the effectiveness of communication from the past project or in the previous phase of the current project. These lessons learned can be applied to make the communication more efficient and effective. Quality report. Let's start with the overview. The quality reports includes quality management issues, recommendations for process, project, and product improvements, recommended corrective actions including rework, defect or bug repair, 100% inspection, and more. Summary of findings from control quality process, and the quality reports can be graphical, numerical, or qualitative. This information is forwarded to those who can take corrective actions in order to achieve the project quality expectations. Quality reports. Quality reports is one of the key input in managed communication. Typically, the quality reports contain quality issues, project and product improvements, and process improvements. This information is forwarded to those who can take corrective actions in order to achieve the project quality expectation. Risk reports. The risk report will contain information about not only the individual but also overall project risk and the source of risks. This information needs to be communicated to risk owners and other impacted stakeholders. Stakeholder register. The stakeholder register will contain information about individual, groups, or the organization that need to be communicated about various types of information and reports. The third one is work performance reports. Work performance reports are circulated to the project stakeholders through this process as defined in the communication management plan. Some of the reports that will be useful to the project stakeholders are status reports and project progress reports. Work performance reports can contain earned value charts and information, trend lines and forecasts, reserve burndown chart, defect histogram, contract performance information, and risk summaries. They can be presented as dashboard, heat reports, stoplight chart, or other representations which are easy to understand or interpret. The fourth input is enterprise environmental factors. Established communication channel, tools and systems, graphic distribution of facilities and resources, global, regional, and local trends and practices or habits, personal administration policies, stakeholder risk thresholds, culture and structure of an organization can influence the way projects are managed and executed, are some of the key enterprise environmental factors to be considered as inputs. The fifth and the final input is organizational process assets. Corporate policies and procedures for issue, risk, change, and data management. Corporate policies and procedures for social media, ethics, and security. Historical information from previous projects, including the lessons learned repository, organizational communication requirements, Standardized guideline for development, exchange, storage, and retrieval of information are some of the organizational process asserts that are used as inputs. Let's look at the tools and techniques. First, communication technology. Let's look at some of the factors that influences the technology. Team is co-located or virtual, confidentiality of the information, resources available to access the information, and organization culture in communicating information such as formal meeting, push type communication, or pull type communication. Now let's talk about communication methods. Here it's all about interactive, push and pull communication, and also interpersonal, small group communication, public communication, mass communication, network, and social computing communication. I hope you remember those discussions. If not, you know what to do, right? Yes, refer our discussion or your notes. In case of communication methods has not delivered the intended message, the communication methods should be flexible enough to change according to the need. Now, communication skills. Here, we are talking about both effective communication, effective listening skills. It's the responsibility of the project manager and team to tailor the communications approach according to the stakeholders. It's the project manager's responsibility to reduce conflicts in the project and promote effective communication. Communication competence. To be an effective communicator, some of the following communication skills are considered, such as clarity of purpose in key message, effective relationship and information sharing, and leadership behaviors. As a project manager, you spend a lot of time in communicating with stakeholders with the team. So, one must be good and competent in communication. Feedback. First, overview. Feedback is a reaction about an information, communication, a deliverable, or a situation. Feedback is used to ensure that the information to stakeholders is received and understood. In context, feedback supports interactive communication between the project manager, team, and all other project stakeholders. Let's look at nonverbal communication. More than the verbal communication, the nonverbal communication transmits more information and more messages. Example of nonverbal communication includes appropriate body language through gesture, tone of voice, and facial expressions. Mirroring and eye contact are also important techniques. The project manager needs to pay attention when he interacts with the team members and stakeholders on both verbal and nonverbal communication. The next one is presentations. A presentation is the formal delivery of information and or documentation. Effective and clear presentation to stakeholders may include progress reports and information updates, background information to support decision making, specific information to increase understanding and support the work. The presentation can be and in fact should be tweaked according to the need and objectives of the project and project team, the audience, their expectation and need. The fourth tools and technique is project management information system. Here we are talking about communication system that will enable the stakeholders to retrieve the information easily and also in a timely way. The project information is managed and distributed using various tools. Let's look at some of them. Electronic project management tools. This includes the project management software, specialized portals and dashboards, and collective work management tools. Electronic communication management. Here we are talking about email, fax and voicemail, audio, video and web conferencing, and websites and web publishing. The next one is social media management. Websites and web publishing, blogs and relevant application which offers the opportunity to engage the stakeholders and form online communities. The fifth tools and technique is project reporting. Project reporting is all about collecting, distributing project information to the respective stakeholders. The report can be simple or detailed, including customized reports and presentations. The level of information, format, details, communication method and medium are to be tailored according to the stakeholders' type and need. The communication can be in the form of presentation, blog updates, or reports as outlined in the communication management plan. Information may be prepared regularly or on exception basis. Reports can have performance information about scope, schedule, cost, and quality. As an ethical behavior, it's expected that the report must have only the truthful information, not to hide anything, even if the project is not going as per the plan. False information can further create problem to the project. You can expect questions in the sample examination related to this ethical behavior. Reports not only helps the stakeholders but also the team members to know how the project is performing, if needed, implement necessary preventive and corrective actions. The project report can include the forecasted data based on the current performance. Again, this helps the project team to take necessary preventive and or corrective action in case the forecast shows the project will get off track. There are many different types of reports can be used to report project performance. This is completely depends on the need of the project. Let's look at some of those. Status report. Status report describes where the project currently stands in terms of performance with the reference to baseline. Variance report. A variance report compares actual result to baseline and reports only the variance. Progress report. A progress report describes what has been accomplished. Trend report. This reports examine project results over time to see if performance is improving or deteriorating. Forecasting report. The report predicts future project status and performance based on past data. Earned value report. An earned value report integrates scope, cost, and schedule measurements to assess overall project performance. Reporting doesn't end by giving update to the stakeholders, right? It also involves asking for feedback from stakeholders. This is to ensure that they have received the information they are looking for and also they have understood the report. You can even ask questions whether they need any further information. You, as a project manager, need to analyze the feedback and tailor it for future communication to meet stakeholders' expectations. The sixth in the list is interpersonal skills. There are 6 interpersonal and team skills are used here. Let's look at them one by one really quickly. Active listening. Active listening reduces misunderstanding and other miscommunications. Some of the techniques of active listening are acknowledging. By acknowledging what the speaker says, the listener confirms that the message is understood. During the conversation, the clarifications and doubts can be raised and get them addressed. By understanding and nodding to the point of the speaker. By removing the barriers that adversely affect the conversation and communication. Conflict management. We already discussed about it. Withdrawal, smooth, compromise, force, and collaborate are some of the conflict resolution techniques. I hope you remember them. Cultural awareness. Cultural awareness is an understanding of the difference between individuals, group, and organization and adapting the project's communication strategy accordingly. This awareness will minimize misunderstanding and miscommunication. Otherwise, it might lead to cultural difference with the project stakeholders community. This cultural awareness and cultural sensitivity helps the project manager to manage the communication mode, model, and method according to the cultural difference. Meeting management. Manage all communication that are relevant to the respective stakeholders. Networking. Networking is all about interacting with others to exchange information and develop contacts. Now in context, networking with people helps the project manager to solve problems, influence, and increase stakeholder support towards project objectives. Political awareness. Political awareness assists the project manager in engaging stakeholders appropriately to maintain their support throughout the project. The seventh and the final tools and technique is meetings. During managed communications, the meetings are conducted as per the plan that is defined in the communication strategy and in communication management plan. Let's look at some of the rules to conduct meetings. Create an agenda with team input. Distribute the agenda beforehand. Stick to the agenda. Bring the right people together. Let attendees know their responsibilities in advance, chair and lead the meeting with a set of rules, set a time limit and keep to it, assign deliverables and time limit for all work assignments that results from meetings, document and publish the minutes of meetings. Let's look at the outputs. There are four. Project communication. Let's look at the overview first. Project communication is all about how well the project is doing. This includes performance reports, delivery status, schedule progress, costs incurred, and other relevant information. Now, in context, project communication artifacts may include performance reports, deliverable status, schedule progress, costs incurred, presentation, and other information required by the stakeholders. Project management plan updates. There are two components of the project management plan are updated as an output. First, communication management plan. As a result of this process, the communication approach may be changed and those communications should reflect in communication management plan. Second, stakeholder engagement plan. Stakeholder communication requirements and agreed upon communication strategies are updated as a result of this process. Project documents updates. There are 5 project documents are updated. Let's look at them. First, issue log. The issue log is updated to reflect any communication issues on the project or how any communication have been used to impact active issues. Lessons learned register. The lessons learned register is updated with information on challenges encountered and how they could have been avoided as well. Approaches that worked well and what did not work well for managing communications are also updated here. Project schedule. The project schedule may be updated to reflect communication activities. Risk register. The risk register is updated to capture risks associated with managing communications. Stakeholder register. The stakeholder register can be updated to include information regarding communication activities with project stakeholders. The last one is organizational process asserts updates. Project records such as correspondence, memos, minutes of meetings, and other documents get updated along with project reports. All right, that concludes manage communications. Let's move to the next process.